Shalom and happy Elul, Judaism Unbounders, Elul Unbounders. My name is Wendie Bernstein Lash, and today I get to offer you one of my favorite spiritual practices. It's contemplative reading. And contemplative reading, I'm so excited to share it with you. I learned about this in my spiritual direction circles many years ago. And while it has been brought into the Jewish world more and more, it's still pretty unknown. The idea is that you take a piece of text and you spend some time with it, not simply reading it through, but being inspired by it in different ways. This particular model aligns with the Pardes model, which is one way that we delve into exploring and finding meaning in Torah. Pardes actually means paradise in Hebrew, and it connotes the garden, such as the Garden of Eden. And each section in the contemplative reading practice that I'm going to introduce you to will refer to an associated level with that Pardes model. In mystical Judaism, we are taught about the Torah being black fire on white fire. And what that means is that it's not just the letters, but there's much more to it. And the Talmud even says that every letter in the Torah scroll must be completely surrounded by parchment. In this way, the words and the space around each letter are an integral part of the Torah. It reminds me as a musician that we used to talk about the spaces between the notes being just as important as the notes themselves, and sometimes even more so. Traditionally, this kind of practice is used with quote unquote sacred texts, such as Torah, Bible, Hebrew Bible, Psalms, liturgy, especially in Christian circles that do a form of contemplative practice, which is called a contemplative reading practice, which is called Lectio Divina. And this being the week of Judaism Unbound this year, that we're looking at shaking up that notion of what's sacred and what's profane, we thought this would be a nice practice to present to you and to break some ground in a different way. So some of the groundbreaking that we've done in the past few decades is to let go of those quote unquote sacred texts and use modern contemporary poetry. And I'm going to take it one level more unbounded with you this week to bring you the words of a favorite song of mine by the Chicks, formerly known as the Dixie Chicks, and use this wonderful practice on something that's not even poetry. So I'll lead you through this practice now, and so that you have a sense of the steps. And then there's documentation for you to look at and download, or you can use this video either way. I'm not going to actually do the practice for you or with you. I'm just going to describe it now. So let me screen share with you. Okay. So contemplative reading as a spiritual practice, the first thing that we want to do to make it a spiritual practice is to set some intention. And I recommend removing any distractions and interruptions, such as silencing your phone, making sure that texts and emails are not going to ping you, and closing your doors, etc., whatever that means for you. If you can't find a place, since we're sheltering in place in your home, you might want to try this in your car. If the weather is good enough, you could try it outside. And then once you've got a distraction-free environment, close your eyes, take a few deep breaths, and first notice your body. You can do that by noticing the pressure of your sit bones wherever you're sitting, and noticing pressure anywhere else on your body, maybe on the bottoms of your feet, or placed behind your knees, or in your elbows, or in your low back. And then take a few more breaths. And now set your intention to open to something undiscovered or not yet fully in your consciousness. Feel free to use your own words. You don't have to say, I set my intention to discover something undiscovered. Let it flow from you. And now we'll move into the sections that I mentioned that are part of the Pardes model. The first being Peshat, which in Hebrew means surface. So we look at the literal meaning. And what you'll do is take and read the words slowly and read them out loud, as slow as you can. And then reread the passage again slowly. I'm going to use the word passage here because this can be used for anything at any time. If you resonate with this practice and you want to try it at another time. After you read the passage the second time through slowly, see what word or words or phrase or phrases jump out at you. Don't even think about them. Just notice which words are still there for you. And then you can write those words and phrases down if you like. We'll move to the second level, which is remez, which means hints in Hebrew. And here we're looking for the metaphorical or allegorical meaning. So reflect on the words and phrases that you either wrote down or that you gleaned from the first readings, and hold in your reflection, why might these words or phrases hold meaning for you today? What might be trying to come into your awareness and consciousness right now through these words? And if any of these questions, an answer comes to you, you may want to write that down. And if there's no answer, it's fine, just hold the question. Then we'll move to the next level of mining the passage, which is drash. Drash means seek, to seek. So we're seeking a deeper meaning, or the meaning between the words, that white space between the words. Reread the passage again slowly. And with this repetition, you may find yourself bringing attention to either a connections between words or a flow from one place to another. Listen closely. See what's arising in you or coming to you. Just let it be. And then notice the word or words, phrase or phrases that have the most energy for you at this time. These may be the same or different words or phrases from a prior reading. You can write down those words or phrases. And now take some time to reflect on what you wrote. Did these words point to something in your life that's calling you to look at them more deeply? Is there some invitation for you to do something or to do something differently? Are you hearing confirmation of something that you already know? And specifically for Elul, is there a new awareness of some forgiveness for you to seek? Forgiveness for yourself, forgiveness for another, forgiveness from another. Take a little time to sit in silence, to be prayerful, whatever that means for you, and to sit with what's arising as you hold these reflective questions. If you want, if it's comfortable, if it feels authentic for you, you can invite the ground of all being, God, Yud He Vav He, that sense of mystery beyond, to be with you in whatever that means. And if you want and it feels authentic for you, you can ask or pray for any help or guidance in any way that your heart feels like it needs it. Take whatever time you need there. And when you feel complete, you move to the last level of this practice, which is sod. Sod means hidden. It's actually a challenging place to be, to stay with the fact that things are still hidden with us. But it's also a place where we can find mystical inspiration, or we can connect to the fact that there's a mystery, there is an unknown that is in all life and in our life. So sit silently for a few minutes to encourage yourself to connect with that mystery with no intention, with just being where you are, having done the rest of this process. And you may want to see if there's something that's unfolding for you, notice any questions that are arising, and rest in not having to know what is still beyond the edge of your full understanding, and simply holding what is not yet answered yet. You may want to journal after this practice, or take what you discovered to a trusted friend to explore. And if you haven't yet signed up for spiritual direction with one of our spiritual directors who are offering a session, you could do that now and take what you learned from this practice into spiritual direction. So enjoy your contemplative reading. Actually, let me stop screen sharing. There we go. This is based on a practice that I've done for many years in group settings. It's really wonderful to learn how different people are inspired by different words and phrases using the same piece of text or writing. And I worked this for you as an individual practice. And so please send your feedback to me about whether it works or what you discovered. You can send that to Elul at JudaismUnbound.com or Wendie at WendieLash.com and let me know your experience with it. I hope some of you are inspired to keep using it throughout Elul and not just this week, and maybe even beyond, or to start a contemplative reading group. Maybe invite other Judaism Unbounders to do that with you. And happy Eluling and happy contemplative reading practice.